Hi, welcome back to BK Garage, my 1970 Monte Carlo project. In this video I'm going to be working on the interior. As you can tell by the background, I'm at the shop tonight. We'll get to where I am in a future video. Just gotta stay tuned. The wiring's pretty much taken care of, so I pulled the dash out, just painted the heater box and cleaned things up in there. There had been mice in the back of the dash, so that's going to the car wash and getting a good cleaning. Next up is putting the headliner in. It's actually a kind of a new old stock one that came with the car. My friend had got it for a Christmas present back when he was still driving it in the 90s. It was folded up in a plastic bag in the back seat, still in good shape. I've got all the rods in it already. When I pulled the old headliner out, it was so rotten that it just pulled off the rods, so I left them all in place so I knew they were in the right order. Start snapping that back in. See a little bit of a faded spot. That was where it was sitting up in the sun. This sleeve was a little bit rotten there, so I hog rigged it onto the rod. Off to the side it was fine, so it should hold okay. From the other side the headliner looks really good. This headliner is a little bit different than other ones I've done. The center bowl on this one snaps into these little plastic clips, and then you stretch it to the front and the back from the middle. It's a little easier than having to stretch all the way from one end to the other. Then the rest of them, the bolts just go up into the holes like normal. Well, that's about the wrinkliest I've ever had a headliner turn out. It'll get better once it warms up. Needs to relax a little. I tried heating it up with a heat gun to stretch it, but seeing as this headliner's 20-some years old, it wanted to pull apart at the seams when I did that. So it's going to have to stay like that for now and just get warmed up out in the sun, level off on its own. Next part of the interior that needs to be done is the package tray. It's a little crusty. This is backing cardboard I just picked up at a local upholstery shop. Fabric laid out here. I'm going to leave about a 3-inch flap off the front side of it so that it can hang down behind the back seat, just to finish off that edge. That's how the factory one was. Just clamp that down to the table at one end. And try and stretch it tight. There we go. Trim up the edges and that's ready to go in the car. I just rolled the edges over, glued and stapled them to the back side of the backing board. And that'll hang down behind the seat. Well, the adhesion promoter is dried on those parts. You can see on the door panel I just masked off the chrome on them. I was going to take everything off and it seemed pretty fragile when I tried to remove it, so best to just leave it there. Time to give it all a coat of paint. Starting to put some interior panels back in. Got the passenger side back seat area done. That package tray cover that I made. Just getting ready to put the driver's side stuff in. Got the dash all prepped and ready to respray. It had been redone in black once before, but I think they just used regular spray paint, so it was peeling off in a lot of places. Just went over it with a red Scotch-Brite pad for a while, got all the loose stuff off. Everything that's left seems to be stuck really well, so I just spray over top of it. Give it a coat of adhesion promoter, spray it black again. That first can I sprayed it with is just a plastic and leather prep. So you spray that on and then wipe it off. Just it's cleaner. This dash pad had a few cracks in it. One here, here. These ones I already V'd out. Just using my die grinder and taking out the lifted vinyl, V'ing out the cracks so I can fill them back in. Try and smooth this thing out a bit. I'm just going to try using body filler on the cracks. I have no idea if this is going to work or not, but it's worth a try. Dash pad's shot anyway. If nothing else, it'll fill these holes up so I can recover it. Sprayed that with interior paint, let it dry. That worked not bad. Those cracks are good. One in the middle opened back up again, but it's not near as bad as it was. I'm just going to leave it like that for now, see what happens with it. Go through a few heating and cooling cycles, being inside and outside, see what it does in the sun. I may have to pull it back out and redo it later, or maybe even recover it. Also got all the seat belts hanging up in here. Re-dyeing them as well. They were blue, I'm turning them black. Well, that foam's in pretty nice shape. It doesn't need anything done to it. You saw me cutting the old seat cover out of this slot here. The new one doesn't have that pocket sewn into it for that listing wire. It just stretches right around and attaches front, back, and sides. You can see this sleeve sewn in here. That needs something solid put into it to attach the hog rings to secure the seat cover to the frame. You can open it up because it's sewn shut on the end. I just used TIG welding wire. I curl my ends over so that if that ever tries to work its way out, it doesn't have a sharp edge to poke through the seat anywhere. I'll just have to slide one through from each end of this. hog ring pliers. Get a good set of these. Some upholstery kits come with a cheap pair, throw them away. Go buy good ones. If this foam would have needed replacing or repair, I would have taken it right off the frame, cleaned the frame up and painted it, but since the foam didn't have to come off, I'm just leaving it alone. The outside edge, front and sides, has some piping in it already, so I don't need to put any listing wires in it. First couple are always the toughest. There's a seam in the middle here, so I can see that it's lined up nice and centered. Make sure my corners are lined up where they need to be. That looks good. Can keep stretching it over. A couple of very minor wrinkles just from them sitting in storage. So it gets out in the sun, those will come out. The original padding was pretty destroyed on the seat back, so I took it all off, painted the frame, and I've now put a layer of 1/2 inch foam on it. I'm going to put another 1/2 inch of foam in there. It's not quite padded enough yet. That works, goes right around the corner. We'll do another set from the bottom. back is done. That's got a decent amount of padding now. Right now I'm upholstering my console. Got my fabric cut out, put a coat of glue on it and on the wood of the console itself, stick them together. I've never tried doing anything like this before. I didn't build a full-length console or tuck right up to the firewall under the dash or anything like that. Ooh, that's going to stick good. You can see I drew some Sharpie lines where everything lines up. And I can use the stitching to line up, make sure everything's nice and square. Right there. Put a few staples on the back side. Using this 3M high strength spray on adhesive. This is good stuff. Used it before putting new interior kits into tractors and stuff like that. It holds really well. A little bit I can trim off this far end. I had to start out a ways so that my diamond pattern would be even where it wraps around this end. I had to slice that in so I could wrap it up. This is where it fits in over the center hump in the car. Now the top edge is all going to be held down by the top plate. I'll just tuck it in and bolt everything down. Let's got it started. So the way I built this is with 1/4 inch MDF, and then I used aluminum angle iron. It's about 1/8 inch thick. I put nutserts in it. Same thing from the outside. There's nutserts in the aluminum, and then number 8 machine screws from the outside of the MDF. I use these little countersunk washers just to spread the load out. I'm using them on top as well on the top plate. I'll go over all this afterwards with some Scotch-Brite. Just do it in one direction get a nice grain pattern on it. If I was to do this again, I think I'd use 3/4 inch MDF. Make it a lot heavier. Then you wouldn't have to use the aluminum frame. This is my first attempt at anything like this. I think it'll work. Top's all attached. I just use some weather stripping to put on around the shifter opening. I'll probably put some kind of fabric in there or rubber in there later to close up around the shifter. But it's got such a long throw, a regular boot doesn't fit over it. It needs this long of an opening for how tall the console is. Time to put the other switches in there, wire it all back up, mount it in the car. I'm just starting the tear down on the front seats. That's nice.
Stacked. You can whisper behind my back. You can show me how the odds are up against me all day long. But I've been through the fire and come out alive, and there's no more fear in my eyes. Oh, now I'm rising, and you can't bring me down. You can't stop me now. For destiny, I'll take the long way proud. Oh, I know what I've earned, and now it's my turn. Lighting the fuse, let it burn. My time is rising, and you can't bring me down. Can't stop me now. You can't stop me now. And my feet have come too far for you to tie them to the ground. Can't stop me now. Can't stop me now. Set my side. Turning back around, can't stop me. Can't stop me now. No, 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 you can't stop me now. This is the calm before the storm. You know what's coming, so be warned. You can't stop me now. You can't stop me now. Though my feet have come too far for you to tie them to the ground. Can't stop me now. You can't stop me now. Set my sights on where I'm going now. You're turning back around. Can't stop me. need to get out, just stay on a lovely holiday. Our love is easy lasting, holiday so easy passing. Our love is easy lasting, holiday so easy passing. Together we're an island, only grains of sand. You and me make one if you're counting on my hand. Take heed, they'll say, no, no need to get out, just stay on a lovely holiday. Lovely holiday.
This is the base all cleaned up. Threw some paint on it, so it's pretty rusty. Not pitted or anything, but surface rust. Little trick I like to use when you got to find screw holes through upholstery or a headliner or something. Put the screw in first. This works really well for sun visor screws on headliners and stuff like that. So you just find your screw. I'll slice over it with a razor blade. there's number 2 finished up. Same thing, a few little wrinkles from the covers sitting in storage. Hour or 2 of driving time, sitting out in the sun, those will smooth right out. You may have noticed I didn't put the headrests back on. I don't have new foams for them, and these ones are in really bad shape. I've got new skins, but no foams. And I'm on a bit of a deadline here. These have got to go in the car, car's got to go in the trailer, and I'm heading south. So finish this up just in time. I didn't get a chance to shoot any video of the seats when they went in the car. So it was a matter of bolt them in, put the car in the trailer. So the console's all installed. I made a little top for it as well, where it mounts up under the dash. That cord there has a button that fits into the steering wheel for my line lock. It's just undone for driving around because it gets tangled up around the column. That's got the interior wrapped up. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. As usual, please like, share, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Maybe give you an idea of where I am and what's to come.